Now, we've done Artillerist, we've done Armor, but now time for the Battlesmith. So, the Battlesmith is built for battle, so we should be doing pretty decently, right? Well, let's see. Now, again, we've gone through this before. Pretty much the same thing for the first 2 levels of Artificer. Again, same as usual, we're going to be, pretty much a lot of these builds, we're just going to assume you're going with ASMR. Artificers can, Battlesmith Artificers can make all their weapon attacks with intelligence, which means we want to have our highest stat is intelligence, which is going to be 17, which is wonderful, because it means that basically, the other stats just have to be mediocre. We can rely on one stat. I would put Constitution next, because, again, Echo Knight is normally pretty good for a lot of these builds. So that's going to put it at 15 for now. And we just have to have decent dexterity, so at least 13. And go crazy with others. For our first 2 levels, just usual magic tinkering, and then we get our spells and our infusions. We're just getting the same infusions. As always, the +1 weapon and plus 1 focus, or you can take the +1 armor or shield. All is great. But actually not shield, most likely, because how our range build is going to work, which I'll explain in a moment. Then, speaking of shields, at 3rd level we get Battlesmith, which includes the spells Heroism and Shield as our first level of bonus spells that we get from Battlesmith. Shield is just wonderful. What can I say? Again, as I mentioned earlier, we can make our attacks with intelligence, and we have proficiency in martial weapons. We also get a Steel Defender. This will help boost our damage at earlier levels, because we can use our bonus action to command it to attack. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but it's there. 4th level, we get an ability score increase. We're going to be using a longbow or short bow, your choice. It has to be one of these 2 though. Which means that pretty much sharpshooter, again, is the best early increase in damage. Then extra attack. So we're starting off by making, so a longbow is just 1d8, so it's going to be 2d8 plus 20, and then plus 4, from our 17 intelligence is 3, and then plus the 1 from our special weapon. So that's going to be a base damage of 38, and then we do 5 more from ASMR, which is going to put us at 43. So already we're off to a pretty good start. 43 damage. It's higher than we had with the armor at this level. We get expertise in tools, which is nice, and then more infusions. Just pick, more of that same armor, +1 weapons, things like that. Now, 7th level, we get Flash of Genius. I've mentioned it before, it's great. And then now 8th level, we get another ability score increase. What should we do? We're going to go into just same as always, Gifted Chromatic Dragon. So it's going to give us another d4 to the attacks, and now 9th level haste, and then we also, at this point, we got Branding Smite and Warding Bond, and then Warding Bond, we can basically help our Steel Defender take more damage by dividing between us, and then just having smites for, and then with 9th level we get Aura of Vitality and Conjure Barrage. Both great. Aura of Vitality is kind of a weird choice, but Conjure Barrage also feels really good because you only get it from Rangers normally, so it's fun. At 9th level we get Arcane Jolt, which basically when we deal, we also get, so we get 3 life spells, and then we get this ability from our subclass, which is when we hit a target with a magical attack, we can have the target take an additional 2d6 force, or so defender hits it, or we can have something, creature and object, within 30 feet regain 2d6 hit points. We can do this a number of times equal to our intelligence modifier, only once per turn. So at 10th level, we get the we get another attunement, and then we get bonuses to our infusions, then more infusions. So they become +2 at this point, which is great for a +2 weapon. And then we also get more things that we want, which is mainly Braces of Archery. That's why we're going Longbow, because that +2 damage is going to be very nice. Then we have 11th level, spell storing item. Shelf that for now, but remember it's there. Then, basically, let's do a damage report now. Now, this is going to be, we have haste at this point. That's going to be a concentration. With our 3 attacks, it's going to be 72 damage as a baseline. And then we do 11 more from ASMR, so it's going to be 83. We have Arcane Jolt, which we can apply once per turn, so it's going to be an extra 7 damage, putting us at 90. So it's going to be 8 more damage on top of that, so it's 98 total, which is great. We're almost at 100 already. Now, remember our armor Artificer build? How we used the Thieves' Fast Hand ability? Well, there's no reason not to use this time. We can take Boral's background again, giving us Scorching Ray, and then we get we have a spell storing item now because we're 11th, and then we can that's our intelligence is at 3, which means it's going to be the 6 attacks from Scorching Ray, which is great, and then bonus because we have the +2 focus, and then our proficiency right now is 5. It's going to be 10 to hit with our, so it's still pretty good, and we're bull boost in later. And then so it's basically 3 attacks, 2d6 each. Now to make this even sweeter, we'll go 1 into Hexblade. This, again, because we don't need to have, we basically just have to have a good int and then decent con. You can just have that as one of the baselines on with Dex. 13 requirement. So then our 1 Hexblade is going to give us Hexblade's Curse. And at this point, we still have, it's still +5, but but basically we choose a target, and so again, it's not critically reliable because it's only one target, but it's going to be just a flat proficiency damage per round extra to them. Then we're going 3 into Echo Knight, which this is going to put our total character level at 18. Yeah. So this means that we get all the great. We get archery. We probably I'm just kind of doing this in incredibly right order, but you might want to do archery first because archery is fantastic, especially when we're using sharpshooter. And then action surge, of course, another fantastic ability, and then echo. So we have decent con this time. So that's gonna be like at least 3 attacks with echo. Again, battles shouldn't last more than probably like 4 to 6 rounds. This is my experience. But so it's basically an extra attack each round, and then so that's another great bonus. And we have 2 more levels. So the question is, what should we do with that? Well, we can just go into it depends. Again, I normally do most D&D Beyond stuff, so that would include Blood Hunter, but not everyone's always on board with the Matt Mercer stuff. So honestly, just go. You can either go 2 more into Battlesmith, that will give us 4th level spells, and it will give us another ASI, and then we get, or we can just do 2 ASIs, but just going, either 1 fighter and then 1, or again, honestly, best for damage, just go 2 more into the Thief Rogue, because that's going to put us at 5 for Thief, which is going to give us Uncanny Dodge, which will great in a pinch, and then it's also going to give us another d6 for sneak attack. So that's just nice. With our 1-2 SA size, we'll just cap our int. We don't really need any other feats at this point, so we'll just cap our int. From our initial 4 attacks, normal, extra deck, haste, and echo, that's going to be 112 damage is going to be our initial damage, and then we're going to go into, we get another 39 from our Scorching Rays, which is going to put us at 151 damage. And then we get 20 from ASMR, so it's going to be 171 damage. We get 2d6 from Arcane Jolt, which is going to put, and then 3d6 from Sneak. So it's going to be 5d6 total, which is going to be 17 more damage. 188 damage, which is incredibly nice. That's almost hidden 200, not quite, unfortunately, but that's still pretty fantastic. Which means now the question is, can we do better than that? And now, let's see. So right now, we have a few levels floating around. So again, we can make a big investment here, which is if we drop our some of our bonus levels and go 5 into Wizard Clark or Warlock, we're going to get Spirit Shroud. Now, to get the most of it, we want to go into Wizard or Clark because we can stack those levels with Artificer and then get 3d6 rather than 2d6. So let's do it. What can we take out? Well, we had those 2 extra levels floating around anyways, and then we had, we're going to try taking out our 3 Echo. So this is going to only give us 2 initial attacks, which hurts, but still might pay off. So at this point, does it matter what you're going into? Well, War Cleric, you can potentially get the, a Forge Cleric, you can potentially get the 1+1 to weapons and things, but we already have that from Artificer. War Cleric gives you the bonus action attack, but we don't need that because we have a better bonus action at this point. We get, those are really the only, because, you have Death Clerk, but that has to be a melee attack anyways, and it's not sustainable. And then, so then you have Wizard, which is, you have to go 6 if you really want anything good. I would say, actually, probably just Blade Singer, because at this point, we're getting a flat bonus to our AC and concentration, which we're already using intelligence. We don't have to use some weird multiclass with wisdom. And, well, like, other things are decent. we're basically melee, and I mean, we're basically more attack oriented, which means it's just gonna be nice to have things that make us tankier. I mean, abjuration works too, but we're not really casting many abjuration spells, so we're not really gonna get the best bonus out of it. So I just say Bladesinger for that. So we're at a bit of a dilemma because right now we have 6.5 full casting slots, so we only need one more to get to 7. But if we go one more, we're gonna lose Hexblade, and on average, like 4 to 5 damage with Shroud is gonna be less than Hexblade. But from our investment, it might be so. It's an unfortunate loss of resources. We're probably just going to have to go with the 2d8, which, again, is pretty brutal, but there's not a lot we can do about it. With our 2 attacks, Spirit Shroud added in, that's going to be 82 damage. It's going to be a 66 additional damage, which is going to put us at 148. Then we get 20 from ASMR, so it's 168. 2d6 from Jolt, 2d6 from Sneak Attack, so it's going to be 14 more, which is 182 damage. Again, not bad. Falls in that same area. And then we get that additional 8 if we choose our homunculus, which will put us in the 190s, which is, again, it sucks that we're so close to getting that 3d6 in terms of damage. The thing is, okay, well, we can do just a little, we can do a little mind game scenario, right? If we go one more full caster level, that means we can go one more into Bladesinger, which means that we'll lose Hexblade, but this allows us to make a cantrip in place of one of our attacks. Now, we've kind of buffed out on attack stuff, so, or is it? So let's compare 2 things, right? One, we remove Braces of Archery, so we can make melee attacks instead. This means that we'd be using Great Weapon Master instead of Sharpshooter, which is basically the same result. And then you'd have 3d8 extra damage. It would be either fire or thunder, based off if you're going to do Booming Blade or otherwise. And so basically, we'd be losing 4 damage. But we have proficiency in all martial weapons, so we wouldn't benefit from Blade Song if we were using a martial weapon. But that may not matter. That's going to put us at a 91 base damage. Then we get from our 2 weapon text, and we get including the green film blade or boom blade on one of them. Then 61 damage for our scorching ray attacks, which is going to put us at 152 damage. That's 20 more from ASMR, which is going to put us at 172. And then once again, 14 more from Jolt and Sneak, which is going to put us 185 damage, which is almost exactly the same. And then we again hit the 90s with homunculus. So it doesn't really matter. It's probably better, like Battlesmith and Bladesinger just have a lot of synergy together. So I would just suggest going with that. But either way, we still have a pretty good build. We haven't capped the 200s yet, not really. I mean, we kind of did it with Beastmaster, but Armor and Battlesmith are preferable to Artillers, mostly just because we get Scorching Ray bonus action, which is just in terms of extra damage. Our baseline is only 78 if we do we do a Firebolt as the orc cantrip. Again, it's a different story if we choose Eldritch Blast, but we'd be losing basically the entire point of our subclass because we lose Thief. Or, yeah, so, but it's better just to do 2 melee attacks, one with Moving Blade on top. So the Battlesmith and Armor do better damage than the Artillerist because of that bonus action. It means that I still love Artillerist, and if you are using magic items, like if you have like Spellstorming item, Artillerist is just loads better, because you can get like Spirit Shroud in it, and there's like I've had a lot of fun with Artillerist in the past. But in terms of raw damage, you want to do Armor or Battlesmith. I find, in conclusion, I would say that Battlesmith has more variety because you're not restricted to one weapon. You have, besides having like lots of options, you have better spells, in my opinion, at least for combat. I mean, while we're not going all the levels of Battlesmith, they do eventually get, I mean, you know, they eventually get higher Arcane Jolt, and then they get, like Banishing Smite, which is just crazy, and Mass Cure Wounds, so they can basically buff and heal, which is insane. Like on top of already Vitality and Purity, but anyways, which makes them a lot more utility based, and then they synergize really well because you're just using intelligence for weapons. It still doesn't mean armor isn't fun, because it synergizes great with Thief because you don't get disadvantage on stealth, so that's even more damage there. But yeah, that's optimizing Artificer right there. This is Dodeca Dungeon signing off.